What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Brutal Planet Comics. I'm your host, Dre the Brute Daniels, and welcome to an episode of Brutal Rant. Now, today we're going to be talking about something a little bit different. Actually, the next couple weeks we're going to be talking about characters that are underrated in different aspects. So before we even get started, let me ask you something. Have you ever felt that you were misunderstood or overlooked in some kind of way? More than likely, you've experienced this before. And just like you, this character has as well. We're talking about Qui-Gon Jinn from Star Wars. Yes. We're going to be talking about why I feel he is one of the most underrated Jedi and pretty much characters in the Star Wars universe, his importance, and why I think he should be getting more recognition that he deserves. So we're just going to go through a few things, and let me know if you agree or not. So for those that have been living under a rock or don't know what Star Wars is, Qui-Gon Jinn, of course, is the master of Obi-Wan Kenobi, and of course is the one that found Anakin. Now, when we're introduced to Qui-Gon, we understand that he's a free-thinking person, that he is someone that lives by principles and isn't as dogmatic as the Jedi Council, who are very stoic and unfeeling people. We get the sense of him as a fatherly like figure, even to Obi-Wan, who of course has also been influenced by the Council, and Obi-Wan himself is always conflicted between the things that his teacher Qui-Gon says and the Council says. So we kind of see through the lens of Obi-Wan how he's kind of conflicted on the views of his master and those of the Council. But let's focus on Qui-Gon for a while, because like I mentioned earlier, he was like a real fatherly figure, and he had a talent of seeing the potential in people despite others not really seeing it. For instance, okay, everybody hates Jar Jar, okay? That's the reality. He was a really dumb character, but think about it. Like, he saw the potential, whether it was selfishly or not, to see how he could be useful to his cause and to ultimately help the Naboo, and actually build his self-esteem and stamina and beliefs in himself, because of course he was banished for being clumsy. But as we see throughout the arc, Jar Jar goes on to become a representative for Naboo in the Senate and stuff like that, and he gave him that push, he gave him that encouragement that no other character would have given him, bar none, like not even close. So to see that he saw that in Jar Jar is pretty cool from that perspective. And of course, Anakin of course was more or less ripped away from his mom at an older age, and Qui-Gon knew that he had to step up and be that father figure for him, despite the Jedi codes of no attachments and all that other stuff. But he understood that dogmatic code did not fit the mold for Anakin. He needed something special, and he was willing and able to do that. And to see, and like there's been a bazillion theories about like if Qui-Gon had trained Anakin, how well things would have gone. And I have to agree, if he was the trainer of Anakin, I think the galaxy would have been saved, quite frankly, because he had that nurturing ability, and he understood what it took to actually be human to a degree, instead of just being a stoic monk. Speaking of stoic monks, the Jedi Council, of course, are the biggest idiots in the history of Star Wars galaxy. Qui-Gon was so ahead of them in so many different ways. He stood by what they would call the living force, which is basically like, hey, we have these codes, we have this doctrine, we have this way of doing things, but times have changed, and the ideology behind certain things needs to morph and change and grow. And of course, the Council didn't get it. They didn't understand, or refused to acknowledge. A really important scene is when when Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon are talking after they have this meeting about Anakin being the chosen one and all that great stuff. he goes away and Obi-Wan speaks with him like, hey, he like, yo, if you just get in line and just say what they want you to say or just do what they want you to do, you'd be on the council. And Qui-Gon makes it clear that he's not about that life. He's not about just being on the council. Like, he believes in something bigger than just the Jedi. And the fact of the matter is that he's so devoted to this faith that the faith itself still hinders him. And without question, it's very difficult for him to balance both. And as I mentioned before, like he was in tune with the living force, not just devotion to a doctrine and devotion to a group of people, a group of men or people or whoever. He wasn't just devoted to that ideology. He believed that the force was for everybody, not just the Jedi. He believed it for everybody. It was an energy that everyone could share, and he was deeply in tune. And because he was that in tune, he was able to see the bigger picture, despite those that may have governed him not seeing it. So it's good to see that. But he was very, very special. And that's the whole point. It's like, yo, we really need to go back and look at Qui-Gon for what he is and what he stood for, because his qualities is exactly the type of qualities that a lot of us should emulate, no matter what type of group or job or whatever it is we're part of. Always looking at the bigger picture, and that's really important. And a key example was this, when he was saying, hey, Anakin is definitely the chosen one. Like, I sensed it, in the Force and all that stuff. And of course, the council made up a bunch of random excuses why he couldn't be trained. And one of them was like, oh, he's too old to be trained as a Jedi, which is insane and dogmatic, despite the fact that, hey, a principle always supersedes a rule. And that rule is stupid. So, but that's why Qui-Gon was like, screw it, I'll train him then. Forget it. And of course, they deny him this. So he's like, okay, well, you just stick with me and watch me and learn from me from afar, since they will not officially allow me to train him. Because he understood the principles behind things, and he understood that the Jedi code was flawed. And so his development as a Jedi is definitely, I honestly think he's one of the greatest of all time. And of course, his death pretty much solidified the galaxy, because the council wouldn't listen to none of that stuff. Him being a unique Jedi put him on a crash course, unfortunately, for death. And it's kind of sad when you really stop to think about it. Because he was a really cool character, and he's really dope. And his death really just sent Anakin straight to the dark side, more or less. So I really think that his impact and his importance is extremely underrated and understated in the Star Wars universe, for sure. And this is a character I can directly relate to, because recently parts of my life have been mired with a lot of extra nonsense that I'm trying to clear out, and trying to be someone that adheres to a list of principles and a list of ideologies. It can be quite taxing, especially when you feel that you're alone, especially when you feel that the way you think, the way you feel, the way you go about your life, no one else really understands or comprehends, or will refuse to do so. So I can understand, I relate to Qui-Gon on so many levels. I just wish that he wasn't as underrated as he is, because good grief, I know what it's like to be misunderstood, and maybe you do too. So that's all I got for today. I know you're used to me being exasperated and all that other great stuff, but for the next couple weeks, we're gonna just be jumping into some stuff that's of some importance and some substance, because I think that I really need to just get off my chest, more or less. But thank you for hanging around. If you watched the vid this long, tell me, do you think that Qui-Gon Jinn is underrated? Or do you? What other Star Wars character do you think is underrated? I'd love to see what you think in the comment section below. Also, oh, I completely forgot a plug for myself. Trouble Within, of course, is available at spinwiz.com, the Spinwiz app, and you can get Trouble #1 for free. There we go. The digital for free. So thank you all. Follow me on all those dope social media platforms you see over there, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We're on the road to 1,000, and we're almost at 800. We're knocking on the door. So thank you for all the continued support. So you all have been awesome, and I'll catch you all next time. Also, if you want to support my channel, check out spinwiz.com or download the Spinwiz app and check out my comic series Trouble. It was written with a lot of love, and it was definitely my favorite comic series to write. I've also written it in English and in Spanish, so whatever floats your boat, I got it for you. Thanks again, and check it out.